Welcome back to Tuesdays, where we check out the vendors and see what new stuff they have. Starting in the Scholarium,
Just come back from another.
we have Bound Affix Script Innervation, adds Innervation, a debuff reducing critical damage. Bound Affix Script Magicka Steel, adds Magicka Steel, a debuff granting Magicka Restoration to attackers. Bound Focus Script Dispel, adds a Dispel. And Bound Signature Script Cavalier's Charge, adds an increase to damage as ability persists effect. Okay, let's head over to Imperial City and see what the Telvar Merchant has. And we're in the sewers. Let's see.
This is all a cool.
First up, we have Bankerai treasure maps. Definitely not worth 6,000 Telvar, but if you're curious, Bankerai brings us 7th Legion Brute, Spriggan's Thorns, and Vampire Lord. The map chests also give us a chance for leads for Ancestral Orc legs or shield motifs, but definitely not worth 6,000 Telvar when they can be gotten for a couple hundred gold on Guild Traders. Our first set of jewelry is Blunted Blades, Amulet, and Ring. Scripts, we have Bound Affix Script Heroism, adds Heroism, a buff increasing ultimate generation. Bound Affix Script Interrupt, adds Interruption effect. Bound Focus Script Bleed Damage, adds Bleed Damage. And Bound Signature Script Leeching Thirst, adds a heal for percentage of damage done. Next up we have Fragment of the Ascendant. This is one of 5 pieces for the Roar Verdant Green skill style. This one drops off the final boss in the dungeon Moonhunter Keep, which is a DLC, so you will need access to that DLC to buy this. At 25,000 Telvar, when this is a guaranteed drop when you kill that boss, I don't think that's necessarily worth it, but if you don't have a group, or if you're not able to run dungeons in general, that is the only time I would buy this for 25,000 Telvar. All right, our leads. We have Band of Water. This one is for Ring of the Wild Hunt and drops from any boss in Badman's Hallows, which is the public dungeon in Glenumbra. I don't think this is super terrible to get, and there's another lead that drops in the same public dungeon off of mobs. So it's not a bad idea just to run around until you get both of those leads. But it is here for 25,000 Telvar if you need it. Our second lead is Lucent Cabochon. This is one of 5 pieces of the Velothi Mage's Amulet, and this one also drops off of any boss in a public dungeon. This one is from the Underweave in Apocrypha. Again, I'm not sure this one's worth 25,000 Telvar, but if you've been struggling with it, it is here. And finally, we have jewelry, Vanguard's Challenge Necklace, and Ring. Okay, time to head over to Infinite Archive. And we've made our way to Infinite Archive. Let's see what Filer Rule has.
Don't complain to me if you want.
All right, first up we have Deshaun treasure maps. Again, these are going to be really cheap on Guild Traders, not worth 2,000 archival fortunes. But if you're curious, Deshaun brings us Mother's Sorrow, Night Mother's Embrace, and Plague Doctor, as well as a chance for the Ancestral Nord Boots or Mace's leads. Next up we have Blueprint Hlaalu Sideboard Low Cabinet. This runs about 35 to 45k on PCNA, but there's not a lot of listings. This is not a bad option for 2,000 archival fortunes. Next we have Bound Affix Script Courage, adds Courage, a buff increasing weapon and spell damage. Bound Focus Script Shock Damage, adds Shock Damage. Bound Signature Script Wayfarer's Mastery, adds improved functionality of skill line passives. Next we have a really good buy. This is the style page for Balorg Mask. This of course is the mask out of March of Sacrifices. It only drops for a short period of time. And if you have the hard mode achievement, you have a better chance of getting it. The RNG on these masks, regardless of the dungeon, are really pitiful. I prefer just to get them for the 15,000 archival fortunes. Next up, we have Companion Equipment Heavy Armor. I don't usually recommend these. When you buy companion equipment through Filer Rule, they are bound, and you don't know what trait you're going to get. So you're kind of stuck with whatever you get. And 5,000 archival fortunes for something you may or may not use is a little steep. But some people do like getting it this way. I'm not one of them. Our first book this week is Denizens of Apocrypha. This one drops out of Infinite Archive, but the eidetic memory, which you need to have learned the book out in the wild in order to buy the book, or to get it to drop in Infinite Archive, The eidetic memory is in Apocrypha, just inside the obscured forum in Southwest Apocrypha. Next, we have Diagram Necron Planter Hanging Round. This is between 20 and 30k. It's really, really pretty. Not a horrible deal for 2,000 archival fortunes. And again, we only have 5 listings, so there's not a lot of options either for buying it. And our final plan is Formula Redguard Lantern Caged, ranging from 28 to 40k on PCNA with only 4 listings again. Again, not a horrible option. And I've used this lantern quite a bit in my housing builds. I think it's pretty versatile, actually. Next, we have Heroes Amalexia Deck Fragment. This is part of the Amalexia deck, of course, for Tales of Tribute, and it's found occasionally after defeating bosses inside Gorn and the Underweave public dungeons. I do think this is fairly easy to get, but if you need it, it is here. Next up, our leads, we have Malakath's Brutal Ritual Oil. This is part of Malakath's Band of Brutality, and this is yet another public dungeon lead. This one is from Bone Snap Ruins in Stormhaven, again off any boss. And our final lead for the day is Perpetual Spinning Wheel. This is part of the Apocryphal Jewelry Station, and it's just from running Infinite Archive. Now, I have a lot of people that will comment and say that they never get these. I think the key is to make sure that you're running those side bosses, the portals to the unknown. I find a lot of people skip those and then they complain they don't get leads, and that's often where we find our leads. Next up, we have Malographic Ichor. Consume 50 Malographic Ichors to unlock the Ichor Most Malevolent Achievement and the Malographic Mount. This is the first guaranteed drop. Every time you do the daily, you get a collectible fragment. They come in a certain order. The Malographic Ichor is the first one you get. So 50 dailies and you're guaranteed this one. At 10,000 archival fortunes times 50, you're going to be running a lot of Infinite Archive anyway. So you may as well do the dailies and get it that way, rather than spending 500,000 archival fortunes to get your mount. That's just silly. Our second book is Malkath's Journal. This one drops out of Infinite Archive also, but the eidetic memory is also found in Infinite Archive. And then finally, we have Remnant of Deception. Consume 25 Remnants of Deception along with 25 Remnants of Cruelty to unlock the Echo of the Abolisher achievement and the Echo of the Abolisher memento. The Remnants of Deception drop off of any monster or boss within the Cylorn public dungeon in Westweald, and then you would need to combine that with 25 from the other public dungeon. And let me show you what the memento looks like. All right, let's run a couple arcs of Infinite Archive and see what new gear is dropping this week. All right, we just ran a couple arcs of Infinite Archive, and it looks like we have gear dropping from Starter Zones, which is just Armor of the Trainee, as well as from Blackwood, which includes Bog Raider, Deadlands Assassin, and Frostbite. Remember, if you break down Frostbite, you have a chance to get Ivory Brigade clasps, which run about 5 to 6k on PCNA, so it's not bad, but you will need access to Blackwood in order for those items to drop. This is not a way for you to get DLC gear without owning the DLC. So that's going to do it for this week. We'll see you in the next one.